Let's get right into it. Number 9. The sound that creates suns. The pistol shrimp is only about the size of your thumb, but it's packing some serious firepower. It has one normal claw and one super claw that's about half the size of its body. This super claw can snap shut so fast that it creates a bubble in the water. When this bubble collapses, it creates temperatures of around 8,000 degrees Fahrenheit. That's nearly as hot as the surface of the sun. The collapse also creates a flash of light and a sound that's louder than a gunshot. The sound is so powerful it can stun or even kill small fish. Scientists call this process sonoluminescence, when sound turns into light. The pressure inside the bubble gets so intense that it creates plasma, the same stuff stars are made of. So for a fraction of a second, this tiny shrimp is creating a miniature star underwater. There are entire colonies of these little sun makers. They make so much noise that they can interfere with submarine sonar. During World War II, submarines couldn't tell if they were hearing enemy vessels or just a bunch of snapping shrimp. Number 8. The paradox of hydrothermal vents. Imagine living in a world without sunlight, where the water is hot enough to melt lead, and the pressure could crush a car like a soda can. About 2 miles down, underwater volcanoes called black smokers shoot out water that's hotter than 750 degrees Fahrenheit. The superheated water doesn't boil away, even though it's way past boiling temperature. The pressure down here is so intense, it forces the water into a bizarre state that shouldn't exist. Not quite liquid, not quite gas. Scientists call it supercritical fluid, essentially water having an identity crisis. While we learned in school that all life needs sunlight, the creatures down here get their energy from toxic chemicals. There are bacteria here that eat hydrogen sulfide, the stuff that smells like rotten eggs and can kill you. These bacteria then become food for other creatures, like giant tube worms that look like something out of a sci-fi horror movie. These tube worms can grow up to 8 feet tall. They don't even have mouths or digestive systems. Instead, they're walking apartment buildings for billions of these chemical-eating bacteria. The bacteria pay rent by sharing their food with the worm, and they're doing just fine without ever seeing a single ray of sunlight. Number 7. Antifreeze fish of the polar seas. The water in the Antarctic Ocean is so cold it should turn blood into fish-flavored popsicles. But these fish are swimming around like it's a nice summer day. These fish have invented their own internal antifreeze. They have special proteins in their blood that act like tiny bouncers at an ice crystal club. When an ice crystal tries to form in their blood, these protein bouncers stop it immediately. The water around these fish is actually colder than their blood's freezing point. That's like putting a cup of water in your freezer, but it just refuses to turn into ice. Different species of fish in both the Arctic and Antarctic developed this same trick independently. It's like two people on opposite sides of the world inventing the exact same thing without ever talking to each other. Some of these fish can survive in water that's -2 degrees Celsius. That's like swimming in a slushy machine and somehow not turning into a fish cycle. Scientists are now trying to copy this anti-freeze trick for things like ice cream that never gets freezer burn, or preserving organs for transplant longer than ever before. Number 6. A lake under the sea. Imagine diving 3,000 feet down in the Gulf of Mexico and your flashlight hits something that breaks reality, a shoreline. There are actual lakes at the bottom of the ocean. These are called brine pools, and they break pretty much every rule we know about water. The water in these pools is about 5 times saltier than regular ocean water. That makes it way heavier than the water around it. So instead of mixing with the ocean, it just sits there like oil floating on water, except in reverse. The brine is so dense that submarines can float on top of these lakes like a rubber duck. These pools even have their own shoreline and waves. It's like someone took a normal lake and just dropped it into the ocean, except this lake is basically made of death. Any fish that swims into one of these pools gets pickled alive. Imagine jumping into what you think is a regular pool, but it turns out to be filled with vinegar. Scientists have found perfectly preserved crabs from decades ago at the bottom, like in nature's toxic pickle jar. Number 5. The Hidden Tsunami. Imagine you're in a submarine, cruising along 1,000 feet deep. Then suddenly, your sub gets hit by a massive wave. But up on the surface, the ocean is completely flat and calm. These are internal waves, the invisible giants of the deep, and they can reach heights of 800 feet tall. That's like 2 statues of liberty stacked on top of each other moving right beneath your feet. The ocean isn't just one big blob of water. It's made up of different layers, like a giant liquid lasagna, with different temperatures and saltiness. When something disturbs these layers, it creates these massive hidden waves. These waves can cross thousands of miles without losing their power. They can snap underwater cables, damage oil rigs, and even trap submarines. During the Cold War, submarines would get caught in these waves. The crew would think they were under attack, but they were just getting tossed around by an invisible wave. We didn't even know these things existed until the 1960s. Waves hundreds of feet tall were cruising around under the ocean, completely unknown to us. Number 4. The moving phantom seafloor. During World War II, submarine operators noticed something impossible on their sonar screens. The seafloor was moving. This wasn't a glitch. It was the deep scattering layer, also known as the phantom seafloor. On sonar screens, it appears as a solid surface hundreds of feet below, but this floor moves up and down like a giant underwater elevator. During the day, it sits deep in the ocean. At night, it rises toward the surface. This moving floor is actually made up of trillions of sea creatures. The layer of fish, squid, and other animals is so dense that it tricks sonar into thinking it's solid ground. These creatures have special gas-filled organs called swim bladders that reflect sonar signals like mirrors. Billions of these little mirrors clustered together create what looks like a solid surface on sonar. This daily migration is the largest animal migration on Earth. During the day, these creatures hide in the deep dark waters to avoid predators. At night, they swim up toward the surface to feed. Number 3. The Milky Sea Phenomenon. Imagine sailing across the ocean at night when suddenly the water starts glowing. Not just little sparkles, but a steady, uniform glow stretching as far as you can see. It's like someone replaced the ocean with glowing milk. This is a real phenomenon called a Milky Sea. We're talking about areas of glowing ocean bigger than some US states. The glow is so intense it can be seen from space, and sailors have reported being able to read books on deck at midnight from the light of the water alone. These Milky Seas are created by trillions of tiny bacteria all glowing together, but these bacteria shouldn't be able to coordinate like this. It's like trying to get everyone in Times Square to do the wave, but without anyone being able to see or hear each other. Scientists think these bacteria use something called quorum sensing to communicate, releasing chemical signals into the water. When enough bacteria are in one place, the signals build up, and they all start glowing at once. But these glowing patches can be up to 100,000 square kilometers. The signals these bacteria use can't travel that far. It's like trying to whisper a message from New York to California. Number 2. Whale songs and the SOFAR channel. In the ocean, there's a mysterious layer called the SOFAR channel, where sound can travel for thousands of miles. While your loudest yell might reach across a football field, whales can whisper to each other from California to Japan. At around 3,000 feet deep, the water pressure and temperature create a perfect zone where sound gets trapped. Instead of spreading out and getting weaker, sound waves are squeezed into an invisible tube. It's like throwing a paper airplane in an endless hallway. Scientists discovered this during World War II. They found that underwater explosions at the right depth could be heard thousands of miles away. The sound waves in this channel travel so efficiently, they barely lose any energy. That's like whispering in your bedroom and someone hearing you in another country. Whales have evolved to produce sounds at exactly the right frequency to use this channel. They're essentially using nature's fiber optic cable, while other sea creatures are stuck with dial-up. The whales are exploiting this quirk of ocean physics to create their own underwater internet, millions of years before humans even knew what sound waves were. Number 1. The underwater icicle of death. Brinicles are underwater icicles that freeze everything they touch. They are also known as the icy finger of death. Picture a starfish on the ocean floor when suddenly an ice finger starts growing down from above. The moment this thing touches the starfish, it's instantly frozen solid, becoming an instant seafood popsicle. This frozen death finger creates a web of ice on the seafloor, turning everything into a frozen graveyard. These things shouldn't even exist. Ice floats, that's basic science. But brinicles grow downward, completely ignoring what we think we know about physics. It starts with sea ice at the surface. When seawater freezes, it pushes out all the salt, creating super salty water called brine. This brine is so salty, it stays liquid even below freezing temperature, and since it's heavier than regular seawater, it sinks. As this super cold brine drops down, it freezes the less salty water it touches. The result is a hollow tube of ice that keeps growing down to the seafloor. For a slow-moving starfish or sea urchin, that's a death sentence. That's all for today. I'll be making similar videos in the future. Subscribe to see them.